What are some of your best, just a few of your best gaming memories, some of your favorite gaming memories?
Absolutely, yeah, there are plenty to be able to answer that question. I've got so many. So we're going to start here. We're going to show through the Sega wall as I talked about. Starting first, you're going to see a mixture of different items. I kind of display things randomly, but we're going to go through the Sega Master System first, starting here. So again, I'm working for a complete Sega Master System, Sega Genesis set we're going to get into. So doing well here. I don't solely focus on the US. There are some mixed in PAL titles because we have a great PAL library for the Sega Master System, but I just got some random items that are kind of just stacked, like sealed Batman Forever. It's just fun to have those little items. Sealed original Batman, 89, like I said, favorite. So going through there, Sega Master System and some other displayed items, and then I try to collect. I love the box variations, as I said, with the controllers going through each model, the wireless controllers and joysticks. So we go through the Sega Master System, and then I come down and start with the Genesis. These are all currently in alphabetical order, but of course, as I'm getting new games that are kind of out of place, it's quite the chore to be able to put them back together. But so we roll through Sega Genesis. I've got the little strategy guides. I love these old books here, just show super fast, like Sega Genesis Secrets. I love this library of books. There's multiple of those over here. And for you Nintendo fans too, Super Mario World Game Secrets.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love these old books like this.
Do you mind
Not necessarily just your strategy guides, but some old, different type of books. They're fun to read through and read about the games.
Let's see that Sega Nomad.
Oh yes, absolutely. Looked right over that. So the Sega Nomad, of course, is pretty much just a portable Sega Genesis. Fantastic. The original screen, though, does not look the best these days, but plenty of people are doing LCD mods. Mine is not. I don't have batteries in here, so I can't turn it on, unfortunately, but such a great system. It actually feels good, but you put in your actual Sega Genesis cartridges right there.
That's really cool.
Yes. So it does take batteries. There are battery packs you can put on, but as you can expect, you're lucky if you get 5 minutes of playtime.
Yeah.
So I use a power adapter. It actually takes the Sega Genesis Model 2 power adapter as well. So I typically, say you're laying on the couch or something, you just want to be able to sit down and play a Genesis game. Fantastic way to do so. You can actually also hook this up to your TV.
Very nice.
Got the AV out on there, and that's what I thought. Second player, controller port as well. So two people could actually play. You're using this, and player 2 is plugged in to be able to sit, and you can play on the TV like that too. So it's actually just a portable Sega Genesis.
That seems like it was a little ahead of its time to me.
I agree. Not very popular, not a whole lot around, because if I remember correctly, when it came out, a lot of people were kind of moving away from the Genesis library. It was later. I don't remember the exact date, sorry, but at the same time, I don't think there was as big of a market for it, so you don't see them very often.
Right.
But such a cool system, yes. I love it. It's something that you'd see people are making today, and in fact, I believe, I forget the name of the company, I don't want to say it incorrectly, but somebody is making a new version of this right now, actually. It's going to be releasing somewhat soon.
Awesome.
So then moving along over here, in between, I've got, this is such a mess, but this is primarily all Goosebumps and R.L. Stine books. So I've got the whole complete Goosebumps set, and even overflowing. I've got doubles and triples, and there's more over there too. I'm actually building a whole second set, but the majority of these are all from my childhood. I had almost a complete set, but so just a whole bunch of Goosebumps and R.L. Stine things going on in there. I've just, again, one of those things you love. And so then I've got primarily a Sonic collection going up on here with the display of items. Some other little horror figures, another one of my guilty pleasures. I love horror movies. You won't see any of that really displayed in here, as this is mostly about games and toys, but some of that going on there too. And some fantastic old sealed wax packs.
That's awesome.
Yes. Love all these. There's some old Terminator 2. So I've got some Ninja Turtles, Toxic Crusaders, all sorts of stuff. So continuing on Sega Genesis, just continue to move through here. So I just want to say real quick about storage, like shelves. I didn't really talk about that much. These are generic Walmart shelves that you can buy.
Yep.
They come with these shelves right here, and I think they're $20 to $30, somewhere in that range. The problem that created for me is I ran out of space.
Yeah, right.
Because there's such big gaps.
Yep.
So I did a very cheap version of this. I just went and bought some wood, cut it to size, and truthfully I spray painted it, and then just drilled some holes in here and added, I made them to the size so that a Sega CD or Sega Saturn game can fit in here.
Yeah.
So I can always move around, because that's the biggest size case I have. So
That's a good idea.
Move.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I did that to be able to better utilize my space, because again, talking about running out of room, that's what I did. So it works. Again, they're not perfect, but it gets the job done. So moving along, continuing to go through here. Some of these games, of course, are better than others. There's a lot of sports titles. Some of these that I just absolutely grew up loving as a child. Some that are certainly more uncommon. You know, I can point out some. I don't get too big into that, but we'll say for one, if you do go for a Genesis set, check this one out first. Crusader of Senti. A lot of people call it a Zelda clone.
Nice.
Very hard to get, especially complete, but you can see there.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Game.
That looks really cool.
Yeah. So definitely one you want to check out early on if you are getting into the Genesis library. Moving along, some of the other games again I talked about as my childhood and my top 10. There's another fantastic pinball game, Dragon's Fury. This exists on other systems as well, and other games called like Dragon's Crush on TurboGrafx 16, Alien Crush. I may have said that incorrectly, but so great game. And as I said, I have that kind of horror feel to it, because I love collecting horror items and watching horror movies as well. Very, very, very cool. Again, nice childhood copy there. That's why I love having my original games. And again, everything has a story as to where it was purchased from, or originally why I even purchased it. So moving into the next shelf, I'll skip sides. You're going to see some other displayed items here. These are some not for resale carts. So some of these came packed in with these Genesis boxes up here. When you got one of these systems, for example, Lion King, Eternal Champions, you would have a cartridge with the not for resale label because it was packed in with the system. So some of those cartridges, I'm not trying to go after all of them, but it's fun when you can get a hold of one here and there, so I'm just displaying them like that. I don't have all the boxes that actually go to those systems. You're going to also see some other Tiger LCD games. I love collecting those. Some are displayed on the shelves, and I actually have more over there, probably another 10 to 15 that aren't set up and displayed. Things are always changing and moving around. One of the items I love to show off actually is my childhood copy of Power Rangers on the Genesis, and actually it's hard to see, but Jason David Frank, who played the original green and white Power Ranger on the original series, signed this for me. So
That's
this
awesome,
is probably one of, if not my favorite item in my collection.
That's really cool.
Because of, what that means.
And you said that is your childhood copy?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it means a lot. So because of that though, I even still have another copy. This is the variant.
Right.
Let them sign this though. This is the one you see all the time with the black box.
Yeah.
This is the variant that's pretty hard to find. It's not necessarily high in price or anything. If no one knows the difference, you're going to get it for the exact same price, of course.
Gotcha.
But something cool to look out for. I love that, and I will show, I actually have the Power Rangers LCD game, which is over there on a shelf. He signed that also, so very, very cool. Fantastic guy. Have to meet him. Bouncing around, I wanted to pull up one game really fast. A lot of people talk about this, but plenty don't know about it yet still. Mutant League Football, and of course then there's also Mutant League Hockey, which I really didn't play, but Mutant League Football is such a fun game.
It looks cool. I love the cover.
Yes, so we talk about sports games a lot being on the Genesis. Yes, this is a sports game, but this is that
It's an arcade one, right?
Yes, and it's so fun because it's just so crazy and goofy. It is a blast. Such a good game.
Very nice.
Yes, and I don't currently have them, but you can get collectible trading cards that came in the copies. It's one of those hard items to find, like some of the other games. For example, Captain America comes with a pin.
Yeah.
Very hard to find. The Punisher comes with a tattoo. Very hard to find because most of the time kids take those out, they're gone.
Yep.
Right, they're not keeping them. So Mortal Kombat, another one I talked about. The first one. But the favorite for me, actually, it's going to be over here, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. That is my favorite Mortal Kombat game. We talked about Mick and Mac Global Gladiators. I just wanted to show you that super fast because we said, again, how much I played this game and I loved it. You can see quick screenshots here. Again, goofy, cartoonish with the graphics, but
looks
it is
fun.
Platformer, yep. Jumping around. It does get very hard. Starts out easy, it gets very hard. So, skipping along, my next thing, I love Sonic. As we talked about with Sega, so you can see I have a little problem collecting every copy of Sonic.
I see that.
Spinball, Sonic 2, 3, so I'm going for all the variations. So even Sonic Spinball, the cardboard version. Sonic 2, Mega Drive. You can see the original then, and then also, that's another copy of that, sorry, and then the Not For Resale.
Yep.
So collecting any variation that I can find. There's actually a cardboard variant of that I'm still working on getting. And then a sealed copy of that, which I don't collect sealed games, being truthful.
Yeah,
but
right.
For something like that, I had to. So then I love I like homebrews, which I'll show you more of, but if it's anything to do with Sonic, I'm all over it. Like this guy here, fantastic what he did here.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That looks really nice.
Makes it look like snow in the cartridge.
Yeah. Is it a fun game too?
It is.
Yeah.
Very fun. I will show you the back. All the levels are actually winter.
Wow.
So I'll just kind of continue jumping along. We're looking again into the Genesis section, which finally stops here for the US licensed games. Again, that's all I'm going for. I'm not worrying about PAL or Japanese or anything. So I've got some other random items just displayed. Again, the guy I showed made the repro games, made these miniature version of these console boxes, which again, you can get his information. He can make these for you as well.
That's nice. I like that.
Very cool. So I chose the systems that meant something to me, the same versions that I had or played as well. So very, very cool.
So how many Sega Genesis games do you have off the top of your head, like a rough estimate?
It is in the high 600s.
Wow.
Yes. Sorry, I had it earlier and you just hit me off the thought, but yes, it's in the high 600s. So that's not counting variations as well, like I said.
Right.
I'm only counting one Sonic Spinball or one Sonic 2. I don't count those.
Gotcha.
I'm talking about the actual exclusive set. But so then, as I mentioned with the reproduction games, I will not buy reproductions of games that I can get actual US licensed copies of.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to get then, games that were brought over that were PAL or Japanese exclusives.
Yeah.
Like this, for example, is a shooter. A lot of fun, very cool game, but we didn't have it over here. So I like getting those. Another one, same thing. Love the shooters. Twinkle Tail, again, didn't have it. US reproduction, a lot of fun.
And you can play it on a US Sega Genesis console?
Yes. The actual consoles, no problem. You gotta watch for the newer systems. They don't always play those. Like the clone consoles, they don't necessarily always play those games. You just gotta watch. Not necessarily all of them will, but then other ones, this is a great one. I love these compilations. It's Streets of Rage 2, but with Simpsons.
That is amazing.
Things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you get the sprites in there of the Simpsons characters, and again, you can get different color carts and different stuff like that. So they're cool to collect, but also games that are fun to play.
Right.
Sure, you can emulate them, but when you get that actual physical copy, that's so cool what it's all about. And another one, let's talk about Mortal Kombat Unlimited. So again, it adds in a whole bunch of characters and different things that wouldn't have originally existed. But again, very cool. We get this blood cartridge.
That's badass. I like that.
Yeah, very nice. That's what really draws me to these. The look, but also playing them. So anyways, we continue down into Sega CD. Being honest, I don't have very much of a collection. And even so, I have burnt a lot of games, just being truthful, because I'm not out trying to complete this collection right now. I'm focusing on Genesis, but I like playing on original hardware too. So I'll burn a game, to be honest, and I can still play that on my Sega CD.
Right.
Print a cover out if you want. You can find these online already or make your own. DVD case takes up less room, and obviously it's very cheap. Good way to go if you just want to be able to play a game but still play it on the original hardware. So that's what I do currently today for Sega CD. I do still have, of course, some of my games that mean more to me. For example, the cardboard Batman Returns, something like that, again, has more of a nostalgic value to me with Batman Returns. So that's something I can't necessarily make a copy of. Alright, moving into the Sega 32X here. As I mentioned, this is a full 100% complete in box set here. So all inserts, everything, and some of them are actually sealed, but that was just because that was the only way I could get them. Again, I'm not after sealed games. That's just kind of the way they stumbled into them. But talking about this set, there are quite a few games that are very difficult to get and have gotten very expensive. Not necessarily fun. One of which that is fun and hard to get is Knuckles Chaotix. That is actually the only real Sonic game, we'll say, on the 32X. The other one hard to get, Calibri, it's actually a shooting game, but you are a bird.
Interesting.
Yes.
Never
Hard
heard
to
of
get,
it.
has definitely climbed up in price also. Good game though.
Never heard of it. That's cool.
And the one most people are aware of that's just insanely hard to get is the Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire for 32X. This is by far the rarest and most expensive title, especially complete.
Wonder why that is. I mean, you would think with it being a Spider-Man game, there would have been plenty of copies out there.
Right. So it is being truthful, a very bad game.
Okay.
It's awful.
I see.
Yeah. So I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe the rumors that it was so bad. So of course I had to get it and find out for myself. And if you put yourself back in that time and understanding, yeah, the technology may not have been that great and whatever, it's not a broken game,
right?
But for what it could have been, it's not very good. So I just don't think there are a lot of copies out there floating around. So there's a couple others here again, same thing. And then we go into Dreamcast, which I have very few of. Again, I'm only focusing on the cartridge systems right now. I'll come back to these at some point. I've got one Sega Saturn game still left down here. I actually sold my whole set. I had completed it, but sold off, but I kept this because a lot of people don't know actually. This is one of the absolute hardest games to get for the system. It should only be a $20 game,
yeah,
but it's impossible to find.
Really?
Yeah. It took me a little over a year to find this game, and I actually ended up getting it off of the Sega Ages forum. Found somebody on there that had a copy and sold to me. I think I paid $30 for it. Now, over the past few years, I've seen a handful pop up on eBay, and they're shooting into the $100 now.
Wow.
But again,
yeah,
shouldn't be that way. It's a sports title.
Yeah.
Just keep your eye out and watch if you are going for a Saturn set. Get that one right away. Alright, and then my teeny tiny little PS1 set. I don't have a whole lot. I've got all my childhood games still there, and some other just type of genre of the games that I like to play. That's pretty much it. And as you kind of saw up top, only some are displayed, but the Sega Genesis box variants, so I've got more over here. This is my favorite one, actually, and I should have this displayed. But this is the Model 1 Altered Beast system.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Love it. And especially when you see the original price tags on there, it takes you back to that time. $489.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. Holy crap.
Oh, sorry. I misread. $189.
Okay,
I thought that sounded crazy too.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah. Just different box variations like that, and and then the other one that's really cool. I'll move on. Streets of Rage 2 Model 1 Genesis.
I like it.
Yeah, very cool. Love the art style on them. And here is the one I had. Sonic 2, as I talked about. Model 2.
Is that your childhood?
Yep, that's
box?
the one.
Wow.
Yep, very cool. So that's a prize one, of course. Whenever you have those things that really meant something to you. So, quick peek. This is filled with Ninja Turtles behind here.
I see.
Yeah. These are the newer ones, I want to say 2012 that these came out. So I have the whole set, every single one, until they changed the box style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all there, and they continue on over there as well. Then we've got disc-based games starting with original Xbox. So this is more Xbox and PlayStation shelf, basically, is what I tried to do here. So original Xbox starting here, and again, things are alphabetical, but as I ran out of space, I'm just kind of setting them up top, so it's not the cleanest, but hey, that's what happens. So with the Xbox, I've not gone for a complete set by any means. I'm focusing on games that I think are fun, or the great thing about this system, a lot of Sega titles.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is what I love about this. So this was after, the Dreamcast, the Xbox came out. Sega lived on through the Xbox. So many good titles. Again, Crazy Taxi 3, another fantastic Sega franchise, continuing on. So that's what I love about this system. Panzer Dragoon over here.
That's a good one.
Yes, and actually have two. This is quite, I don't think this is expensive or anything, but very hard to find. This is actually the preview disc that you could get through Hollywood Video, I believe it was. I don't know if it was direct through Hollywood. Yes, direct through Hollywood Video. It was just a preview disc.
Yeah. Huh.
Very hard to find. Again, not saying expensive or anything, but just hard to come by. Just a demo disc, but cool to have, and of course I had to have it because it's Sega and part of the Panzer Dragoon franchise. Outside of that, not a lot of crazy titles up here. Continuing on, there's Shenmue 2, just some great things like that. Toe Jam and Earl 3. Again, there's so much Sega on Xbox, it's awesome. So moving into Xbox 360 and Xbox One, just some random stuff. So I had a 360 also, and I loved it actually. I had that before I got the PS3. These are still my original games that I had there. I haven't added a whole lot to that. If I see a new game somebody mentions here and there, I might pick it up, but primarily these are games that I got back then when they came out, and a lot of good titles on there. But then once I got my PS3, being truthful, that's where my focus went for the most part. But So PS2, again, I had that after my PS1. I think, like most people, love that system. Fantastic. So I don't actually have any of my games. These are all ones I've gotten since then, because that was one of the systems I sold, traded into GameStop back then. So a lot of great titles on there. I can talk about those for days. Some cool Mortal Kombat games on there. But one of the ones I love very much, the ATV Off-Road Fury series. This is just one of those fantastic arcade franchises. Just fun to play, good music. Just very cool. Another fantastic game that I just had a blast with. It's on Xbox also, but I bet a lot of people have heard of Black. Such a good shooter.
I have that one. I haven't played it yet.
Fun.
It looks good.
I've heard it's better on Xbox, so because of that, I actually found a version of that on Xbox as well, but I haven't tried it yet. This PS2 version, I've played through that a handful of times. Definitely love it. And again, great thing about PS2, there's a lot of Sega franchises that continued on. Very cool. Shinobi.
Yeah, Shinobi.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. So just a great system. So many titles. Such a huge library. There's something for everybody on there. I mean, it's great. So moving into PS3, same thing. I love PlayStation, again, because I hit the PS1 days, and it just kept going on for me from there. I'm always about PlayStation. I still get the Xbox systems, but I love PlayStation. So that's why you're going to see more of the PlayStation games with PS2. And then the PS3, I still try to collect for PS3 these days. If I see a game that I know I'm going to enjoy to play, it's going to be a good time, so I will pick that up if it's cheap, of course. I'm not out trying to find anything rare or anything like that. The PS4 then, I did have actually probably double this, but I decided to back off, kind of thin some things out, and kind of use some of that to get some Genesis games or maybe something else. But a lot of great PS4 titles, and along with the PSVR system too. There's a lot of titles in here that are a lot of fun to play with the VR system. Some, of course, make me sick. But
Me too.
Yeah, and then my very tiny little old PC collection down there. Good old Unreal Tournament. So moving into this shelf, this is a huge hodgepodge of anything. I have a catch-all place. This is one of them, and it just happens. You have so many things that just don't fit in necessarily with others. So that's what this has become. So some figures, some random movies, and this is actually Bloodsport, one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's a good movie.
Just a t-shirt, though. Yeah.
Classic.
Yes, I love it, love it, love it. I'm a big Van Damme fan. So just a bunch of random stuff here, some Power Ranger figures. This is actually my childhood Turbo Man figure that I got back in the day. Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah, nice.
Fantastic. Batteries are finally dying.
Yeah.
It's actually still the original batteries from when I got it.
No kidding.
Too,
Wow.
Not, yeah.
And they're not corroded?
No,
Wow.
they are not somehow. And the great thing about that, just last year, first time ever, I found another Turbo Man at a Goodwill, and I gave that one to my son to play with. So
that's awesome.
Actually out in his playroom. Yeah, it's very cool. So some other things. So this, when I mentioned my childhood Sega Genesis system, that is this one right here. I've got it in the full monster with the 32X hookup and the Sega CD hookup, because I will take this one right off of here and go play it if I want to go play that. It hasn't been touched in a while because, being truthful, I've been playing most Sega Genesis games on an emulator. It's just been easier to hook up.
Right.
And the arcade that you're going to see. So as we'll get to over there, there's a system called the JVC XI, which I'll show, but I also have the matching controller hanging out there. So you'll see that soon too. But very cool. Genesis, but just rebranded JVC. Some other random consoles. PS2, the nice slim console, which I think everybody loved. The silver edition there. GameCube, Dreamcast, random stuff, comics, and then my very small Atari collection down there. It's actually 2 or 3 rows back, but 2600.
Yep.
That's about it. I didn't have a lot of those, but I played those with my aunt and uncle growing up. My cousins had some of those. So, and then real fast up top, displaying over here, as I talked about with Batman. Anytime I see the Batmobile in that variant, the 89 edition, I have to get it. As you can see, there's more over here too, even on the other side of the wall. But then just some other random stuff. There's some Amiibos, more Dreamcast controllers. You never know.
Very nice.
This is where you try to keep in line with things you like. But something else great here, Sega Power Strip. Very hard to come by. I wouldn't dare use it. I doubt if it works. I don't know. I'm afraid to test it, but it just looks great. And that's why it's sitting there as a display piece.
So how about this arcade machine?
Yes, so the reason this came to be, the arcade, I actually turned it off, I apologize. The arcade 1-up machines that were being released, I was really liking those systems. I've always wanted my own home arcade. I wanted to build one myself, how I wanted it to be, you know, but I just never had the time to do it. So I actually went out and purchased an empty arcade cabinet. It's set in here for 3 to 4 years. And then when the arcade 1-up system started coming out, I said, well, hey, I want to buy one of those. And then I realized, why would I do that when I can build my own and get every game? So that's what happened. I cut down an old arcade cabinet, just basically cut it in half, built this box, got the controls all hooked up here. You see, just all wired in. It's pretty simple. It's nothing crazy, but it's all actually running off of a RetroPie back there. And so then I thought, I love Mortal Kombat, as I mentioned, so I went with this theme, designed this with my 2 favorite characters, with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Then I went ahead and threw in the matching colors with the characters, so I made sure then we've got our Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Ermac, and Reptile to match them with the colors. Just again, I wanted to be personal to what I love.
It's really nice, man. I like how the buttons light up too. That's a nice touch.
Those were very easy to purchase on Amazon and eBay, and very easy to build. They're cheap too. So
very nice.
I can give more information, whatever, if anybody's curious. But very easy to do. But again, it's running off the RetroPie system. So I've got Mayhem here. If I back up here, we've got Mayhem with 1,191 games available, and I can just keep going. This is where I sit and play a lot of the games. Yeah, I can even sit here and plug a USB controller in to the RetroPie that's sitting behind there, and I'll sit here and play on this TV because it's just easier for me to.
It's an awesome setup, man.
Pull out the controller or the consoles, but thank you. So yeah, a lot of games in there, and again, I'll just scroll through here sometimes, and we did this earlier where it stops. I have done that, and then just try to fire it up. Some games don't work, some I have no clue what they are. Great thing, I built the 4-player version because of the original Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet, Simpsons, X-Men, all those great 4-player games. Just a blast to be able to have 4 people come in here, and I've made it nice and big so that people have room to play, so you're not shoving each other like that. So very cool. I love it, and left some storage space down there too. Just a lot of other random stuff. So here again, just kind of a random shelf of stuff, which again happens. But I've got the Sega Pico system here. It's more of a children's learning system. I'll go ahead and just pull that out real quick and show you. Very cool.
That is cool.
Hard to come by these days, but you put these games / books, whatever the activity may be, slides in here. Plug this into your TV, and this is sort of the interactive pad. So this pen then, whatever the book is, will interact and be able to do whatever game or whatever activity you're playing.
I'll be honest, I've never seen one of those. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of titles. I don't remember the exact count, but a bunch of random stuff. There's even a Sonic game for this, which I plan to get for sure. It's okay, being honest, you know. It's definitely for children. I've had my son playing this and playing like this 101 Dalmatians, for example, finding where the dogs went to hide. So it's just there's not a lot you can do with it now, but it's fun to kind of have. I only have a few games to collect for it. So again, just some other random stuff that kind of find a home. I've got the original, so I also love Laserdisc, which you'll see.
That's beautiful.
This is the original trilogy.
That is beautiful.
Special edition, yeah, for Laserdisc. Very cool. So each one in here, very nice.
Wow.
That's what I love about Laserdisc, though, is the size they have and the way they present things. It's very cool. So again, the original trilogy there.
That
nice
seeing that brings back a lot of memories for me with my dad's Laserdisc set.
See, that's what it's about too. Those memories, when you see an item, even if you haven't had it, it still takes you back to a time where you remembered experiencing something like that. And that's in fact why I collect Laserdisc movies too, is my neighbor down the road, we used to watch the first Terminator and Beverly Hills Cop 2 over and over and over again on repeat on Laserdisc. And
Two great movies.
Getting up, and I remember getting up and flipping that disc over all the time just to be able to play that other side. It was fantastic. I've got an Atari 2600 Junior system over there. When I do play my Atari games, I hook that up. I also emulate as well because it's easier, but I play on that. It typically works better for me than the old original system, which again, not to say they don't work, because they do, but this just takes up less space, easier for me to get. My original systems are stored in the closets. PS1, that's actually my childhood PS1. I keep it there because I don't play that one. I've got another one just in case. I don't want the disc reader to fail, the laser or something like that. So I just leave that one sit there. PSVR system, again, I talked about. Super fun. But one item I wanted to show super fast, this is the JVC XI. You're going to see more Sega systems here in a minute, but this is the Sega Genesis, it's quite dirty, the Sega Genesis cartridges, and then the Sega CD combination system. Very, very, very cool system. Just the sleek look of it. Again, we're talking 90s here. And just the look of that system, just fantastic.
I like it.
Yeah, it's very hard to come by these days, but again, it's one of those items that weren't really very expensive, then they kind of went up, but if you can find one, not everybody knows what it is, you might be able to get a great deal on it.
Yeah, that's another item that I've never heard of before,
Yeah.
never seen before.
And then I talked about the Laser Active, the Pioneer system before, so this would be the controller that goes for it. Again, you can get packs to play it. It's a Laserdisc player, but also video gaming system. So this would be the Genesis controller that would go with the Genesis pack. It's a Sega Genesis 6-button controller, rebranded.
Hard to come by?
Extremely. Yes. In fact, the only one I've ever seen,
Wow.
personally. But again, we talked about Instagram and being able to buy things from people and being able to connect and build those
Yep.
relationships. That's how I ended up with that.
Very nice.
Great guy. The PS1 Slim console, I guess we would call it. Love that. That's actually what I play on right there because, again, nice and portable. And this is where I hook up to play my retro consoles, my Sony Trinitron TV. Cousin gave that to me. Was very excited to get that. So this is where I hook up, again, to play the retro consoles. Nice big TV pull chair right over here.
Yeah, those are
Plenty of
great.
Space.
Great TVs for retro games.
Yes, fantastic. And I recommend also, if anyone is not familiar with these, getting a, I don't know the proper title for it, but a video switch.
Yep.
Is what I call it. So being able to hook up, so there's nothing hooked up right now, but multiple systems.
Right.
And then just swap in between. If I want to play my Sega Genesis, I always put that to one. And then I may have the NES hooked up, put that on two, whatever. And you can have multiple hooked up and just switching through. And again, some more flowing Goosebumps books that are kind of rolling over out of the other shelf there. Again, building a new collection. I want to have at least 2 full Goosebumps sets. Always Sega on the mind. So that's that. So I'll back up real fast. We'll look at these toys up here. I talked about, again, I have a Ninja Turtles section. I have a Batman section. Power Rangers, whatever. I try to keep them together. So we've got Turtles that kind of overflow, but the top shelf is supposed to be all Batman, flowing all the way down and around. So there's quite the mixture of Batman figures, but the majority of them go back to a similar 89 feel, or Batman Returns, Batman Forever, something along those lines. I like that older look and feel. So that's where, again, continuing down into here, and it stops there. Bottom shelf over here then is going to be all Ninja Turtles again. These are all newer figures, so even there's the classic collection sitting there, but then again, these are the Ninja Turtle movie, the new movie they did, I should say, and then the second new movie, and then that's the Ninja Turtles DVD set, actually, the full series there. It's where I do some PC gaming. I do a whole lot of PC gaming, but got a nice laptop there that I recently got. I plan to be playing some new games that are coming out here soon on there, especially like the new Call of Duty is supposed to be cross-platform. I think that's going to be really cool. So moving here into, I'm going to continue with the figures really quick first. I talked about the 1988 TMNT 10-back set. So that's what those are. There's one out of place, actually. Casey Jones does not belong in there, and I haven't moved them yet. But these are the original 10-backs then. So again, this is what I first grew up with, so I had to go and get these. So again, 10-back, 10 characters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the first original
Very
line.
nice.
These are the best, absolutely by far.
Those are probably worth some money, aren't they?
They certainly are. I don't know the exact value of them nowadays. I know even when I was getting them, I'm not typically one to pay full retail price on something. It all depends on what you find and where you find it, how bad you want it. But the majority of those, I got fantastic deals on, even from some local collectors, even some stores. So again, build relationships with people, and they'll help you out for sure. So this shelf is meant to be primarily handheld. So starting up top here, Sega Game Gear. It's kind of overrun. There's actually 2 stacks here of all actual box systems. The majority are complete here. So for example, I've talked about, I love Power Rangers. So it's in one of these nice little box protectors.
Very nice.
So I forgot to mention this game on the Sega Master System. It's called Master of Darkness. And on Sega Game Gear, it's called Vampire Master of Darkness. This is just like Castlevania.
Really?
But I personally like it better.
Looks cool.
Sega might have something to do with that, but yes. A lot of fun. So very similar to game as the Master System version. It's just that this, with the Game Gear, of course, being smaller screen, things are typically more zoomed in, I guess you can say.
Right.
But very cool games. Highly recommend those for sure. So then we move into Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. What I do here then is make these custom cases. And I don't have them all made. There's tons of original Game Boy games stacked loose underneath shelves and different things. But this is ultimately how I'm going to display all of them. I just take old DS cases and I just print the cover art. Nothing fancy whatsoever. It's a cheap, easy solution. So these are old cheap DS cases. This is one actually doesn't have a game in it, but it's good to show. Cut this out, and the game slides right in there. Let me see if I can find one really fast. So I got some paper to protect it, but actually I just slide it in there.
That's clever.
It's not great, doesn't look the best,
right,
but it's so cheap and easy to do this. And then you can display it nice on a shelf. There are other ways to do it. Plenty of other people do it with cassette tape cases. And they print out the cover arts. And I know there are other companies right now that are actually making cases for those. So same thing, I really like these. Do these with the Virtual Boy, but I used a red case instead.
Good touch.
But again, just like to be able to display it like that. So I'm going for a complete Game Boy set also, because that was one of the other systems I had as a kid. The original Fat Boy, of course, right in the back seat of the car on those long road trips. Just absolutely loved it. So I'm going for a complete set. No rush by any means, because I've still got a long way to go. Moving in DS, 3DS, and then of course I've got the Classic Edition systems, or just the boxes. They're stored over in their carrying cases. Those are usually what I take with me. If I go on trips, I take them to play in the hotels and stuff. Continuing down in, I've got very hard to see PSP, PS Vitas down there, some more PC games, ton of comics and strategy guides down there, but something I'm going to show super fast. This is what I'm going to do with my Game Gear games. These are made by a company called Custom Game Cases. So you can get this purple color or black, but again, printed artwork just like I showed you up there. But the nice thing is they made this already so that the cartridge fits right into that slot and fits a manual.
That's awesome.
That's the problem if I use these, like I made some here, but the Game Gear manuals won't fit in there.
Right.
Where these they will,
right.
So it makes that fantastic. Yes. So I plan to ultimately have the whole Game Gear set in these. Of course, that's going to take some time and money.
Yeah.
So eventually that'll be where they sit, though.
Something that caught my eye, I'm curious about, is that little blue handheld.
Yes,
what is that?
I looked right over that. I only have one game for this, but this is the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic system, especially if you're an SNK or Neo Geo fan. Their trademark micro switch. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, that
nice clicky. It just, if you could see how good that joystick feels, it's fantastic. Very cool little system. So the first one they made was not color. The bad part about this, the screen is not backlit, so it is hard to see. But again, if you're playing nice light, you know, it's a good system. I only have Sonic, but again, Sega, Sonic. I plan to get some more, but there's the cartridges. Very cool little system though.
I've never seen one of these before.
I was about to say, the thing is, it's uncommon. I've only seen a few. The cool thing, though, is the actual handheld itself, kind of like Nintendo does with the Game Boy. There are a lot of variants of this.
Yeah, right.
A lot of different versions. Some very cool-looking ones, like some camo-looking ones, and some carbon fiber. I think there's one like that. And so, actually, since you called that out, got Game Gear here, my original Game Boy, our PSP, DS Lite, 3DS is in there, PS Vita. This is just a case. I don't have a Nintendo Game Boy in here, but the Game Boy Pocket fits in color, fits perfectly in here. I love this case. It's so cool.
It has a belt loop on it.
Leather. Yeah, exactly. That's taking you to the 90s fanny pack days.
Yes.
So, yeah, all handheld shelf. There's some other things mixed in. I've actually got my Game Boy Advance down in there as well, and just some other hodgepodge stuff. Power Rangers pop figure collection is primarily Power Rangers, I should say. I do have a few Batman, and there's some more up on the Batman shelf. But I love Power Rangers, and when I started collecting these pop figures, there weren't a lot of new Power Ranger figures that I could collect. They started making the legacy items eventually, but when I started getting these, those didn't really exist, and I didn't really want to collect the originals just because they were very hard to come by. So I went with this. I do not have a complete Power Rangers collection by any means because there are so many variations. Some of them are so expensive. Like a glow-in-the-dark Green Ranger, for example, if I remember correctly, is like $400 or something.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, don't quote me, and I may be wrong even on the figure, but anyways, I try to collect those just because I love Power Rangers, and I think it makes a great display here above my work area, and those metal figures as well. These Power Rangers here, the loose figures actually, not the big ones, those are newer ones from Burger King, but the smaller ones, those are actually from, we'll use this right here, this is actually from the movie. These were the McDonald's Happy Meal toys back in the day when the Power Rangers movie came out. So they all came with a figure, and then their Zord. I actually have a complete sealed collection of these as well back there, I forgot to point out. But these are my childhood ones, though. Here are all the loose figures that are sitting here. Black Ranger, pink, yellow, the blue one my son took. So those are all the loose ones there, but I love the Power Rangers. Again, movie and the original series. After the original first 3 seasons, I was...
Yep. That's me too, man. Yep. I agree.
So another thing you'll see around here, I love display pieces, so lighting is a big thing for me. This, for example, Batman light, PlayStation light.
I like that.
And you'll see just, I know you can't see here, but my light actual have the Philips Hue system in. I just love setting up all the different lights. Got lava lamps going on, different things. Because then when you're down here actually playing games, turn the lights off and you get to see all these cool colors. What it does for me, I even have a lighting scheme called Arcade, because it takes me back to that time when I walked into the arcade and all you saw were the bright neon lights and heard the great sound effects from all the games and everything. So that's kind of what I try to go for, in a way that I can, you know. So this is actually my workstation. We'll skip over this, but this is where I work. I work from home for my job, so it's messy, as most people's desks are, of course.
Isn't it distracting doing your job in this room?
It can be difficult. Takes a lot of focus.
Yeah, a lot of
for sure.
Discipline.
Yes. Yep. How easy it would be to say you're done working and just turn and play a game, right?
Yep, right.
So continuing along again, we'll just go around this top shelf with the figures again, moving still some Pops, but then I jump into Turtles again. These are just some randoms, for example, figures that I thought were really cool. Here, the Sewer Surfer Mikey. So again, I just love the old style Ninja Turtles.
Me too.
Yeah, just fantastic. Some of the best toys ever. So that's all they are. Just some random guys there. Another one, Raph the Space Cadet. They're just so cool. You know, they don't make them like this, obviously, anymore.
They don't.
So good. So just a handful of those to display. Continue along, we've got the Lethal Enforcers, so I still love the old school light gun games, of course, which is why you need a CRT television to be able to play those, of course. So I still love up to like Dreamcast for the light gun game, sorry. I still have House of the Dead and stuff like that. The Genesis Lethal Enforcers, and then the Sega CD Lethal Enforcers. I left that one sealed. I didn't see a reason to open that then when I've got the Genesis, whatever, so no big deal there. But again, I don't really collect sealed things unless they stumble into my hands, whatever. The Genesis Activator, such a gimmicky system. I won't pull it down just it's so packed in there, but you put rings around you, motion activated. So the thought is you're standing inside this ring playing fighting games, you're actually kicking and punching, and the motion sensor is supposed to detect those movements and perform those in the game.
Wow.
And it doesn't work very well, but if you want to see something funny, go check out, everybody knows, Angry Video Game Nerd, he did a video on it, you can check that out. So some other random stuff, some Game Genies, whatever, but then moving into the figures again, I started getting in, as I said, the Legacy Power Rangers when they started making these, so then I bought these then. So Green and White Ranger, I think like most people are my favorites, so I've got randoms of those that I focused on, but then going for this whole Legacy collection that they've been doing, and the figures, they did the Automorphers where the heads morph. And in fact, actually, I haven't got this one up there. This just came in. The Black Ranger helmet. So they've got a Green Ranger helmet, which I've recently got coming on the way as well. But so very cool. Going back again to the original Power Ranger series. So then here I've got the Nintendo 64 Funtastic systems. So I originally had all of these. I decided to part ways with them again and focus, but that bothered me. I love the look of these systems. They're so cool. I love how Nintendo did this with all the Game Boys and all the 64 systems and controllers. So anyways, going back for these again. We have a couple more to get, but I love displaying these, especially on this white shelf. The way the colors pop off.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks really good.
So cool. Yeah. And another little quick thing now. This company called Retro Fighters.
I love that controller. Yes, I have one. It's amazing.
So good. So good.
Yes.
They match the color pretty well. It's not
they do,
perfect, but it's pretty well. Pretty well done, I should say. So what I've been doing, as I've been getting one of the systems, I get the controller as well. So I've got the fire orange, the watermelon red, the ice blue. I don't have the jungle green yet, and then I also still need to get, they made an atomic purple one. They didn't make the grape Fantastic system.
Right.
I'm hoping you do, but anyways, they actually just recently made this one. This will be the smoke.
That looks good. That looks really good.
Very cool. Very, very, very nice. So I recently got that one as well. That just came out, I want to say, end of June. Highly recommend those controllers. They're cool for display, sure, but honestly, the best feeling Nintendo 64 controller I've ever used.
I agree.
Feels fantastic.
100%.
So again, we've got random stuff here. Not organized the best. There's a goal to it, but it's just not there yet. Starting here, I just got my Switch collection. There's some other games here as well that are, like even upstairs, I play that system. I love it because of the portability, being able to take it around wherever I'm going.
It's great for people who are busy, that's for sure.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And so part of my job, I travel around sometimes, so it's fantastic to be able to take that with me on a plane, hotel, whatever. It's great. And what I love about the system so far is they're doing a great job, I think, of getting a lot of these indie games on there.
Yes.
And then a lot of retro style games as well. They're just so many fun games, and if you were to look through my collection, you're going to see the majority. That's what it is. And I don't know a lot of the digital, but again, on the digital library, again, Nintendo's doing a great job of putting these old retro style games out there.
Yep.
Fantastic. And not to mention, Limited Run is also printing these games as well, and they're really good too. So, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, I've only got a handful of titles. Again, I've backed off those, as I explained, focusing on Sega. Not a whole lot going on here. I love movies too, so I've went a lot of 4K movies, mostly are here. I also have a theater room over there where they're all stored as well, but like the Batman movies, for example. Every time they release this movie, I'm a sucker. Recently released them on 4K, so of course had to go buy those as well. But that's what you'll see, a lot of my 4K movies, where typically I focus on action movies like that. It just looks great in 4K. So a lot of movies in that just kind of mean something to me. There's some Sonic in there, The Grinch, stuff like that, our childhood stuff. And again, random stuff. Here's Game Boy carrying case, original NES. But these here, I was definitely looking forward to showing these off. So I think a lot of people are familiar with the Nintendo Power magazines. Most people have not seen these. Sega Challenge and Sega Visions magazines. Same concept, but sorry for all the Nintendo fans. These are so much better. So cool. And part of that's probably personal opinion, of course, with Sega. But started out just some of these newsletters like this. Same concept, talking about games. You get some people that write in and say what they're having trouble with. They give tips and different things like that. Very cool.
And those Team Sega newsletter magazines are very, very rare.
Yes.
There were only 7 of them.
Very, very hard to find. And I can certainly say price just keeps on shooting up on these things. So if you are a Sega fan, definitely go get them.
Yep.
And yes, luckily, thanks to someone holding the camera right now, I do have all of them.
Yes, sir.
Again, you make friends, get good connections with people, and they'll hook you up.
Yes, sir.
That's how I got every one of these.
Is that a full set?
This is not a full set yet. I do plan to have a full set, but not yet. I don't think I'm terribly far off, but what I want to show is some of this, the game covers real fast, just the artwork.
Yes, that looks really cool.
So cool. There's Sonic 2. I love this one. Again, what it means for me.
Very nice.
More Sonic 2.
I like that one a lot.
Yes.
That one looks really good.
Good old Joe Montana. They were great about licensing.
Oh, yeah.
When it came to sports games, Sega knew how to grab people for their sports titles. That was a big, big, big thing. Laserdisc collection down there hiding. I love the Laserdisc movies because, again, it takes me back to the old time. I can pull up a couple here. Here's one I recently got. Again, I love horror movies, so there's the original It.
Nice.
Fantastic, just because of what the artwork does and such. But Mortal Kombat.
That's badass. I like that.
You just love seeing the styles like that, It's just so, so, so cool. All 3 of the original, well, only Back to the Futures.
Very nice.
Yes. So I try to stay cheap. You can see these. Goodwill, $4.99. So original NES, I don't have a whole lot. Again, I sold off a lot. But I have what would have been my childhood games, as I mentioned. So even just recently, I actually found this on a road trip coming back home from work. Found a random game store down in Southern Ohio. This was the last game that I needed, complete in box, that I owned when I was a kid. And there he had it sitting there for $20.
That's awesome.
I had to get it, yeah. Everything's in there, the baggie and everything.
Seems like a good price, too.
Yeah, not complaining at all. But of course, as I mentioned, original Contra.
Yep. Do you have Super C? Yeah, you do.
Yes.
I got that one recently.
Such a good game also.
It is.
Don't get me wrong, but something I want to show off real fast. This is called Contra Uncut. So this is actually the Japanese, the Famicom version of Contra, but translated into English for us. And what it does is it has cutscenes now as well in between levels.
Wow.
It'll talk about where you're moving into the enemy fortress.
Yeah.
Talk about the characters and things. But what's really cool is if you've played this game and you remember the very first level, the jungle, everything in the background stationary, the trees, nothing moves. In this version of the game, the trees, the leaves are actually swaying in different things.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yes, they removed a lot of stuff from this version to bring it over to the US. Again, this is just a reproduction, but I want to show you very cool again because you can get a cool orange cartridge too.
Nice.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I have played this many times. Being honest, I prefer this over the original US release just because of what was removed. It's very cool to go and experience this. So again, that's Contra Uncut. Highly recommend checking that out, even if you just emulate it. Another one I think a lot of people know and love. You can see even then I've got my artwork hung up for decoration. Blaster Master.
It's a great game.
So fantastic. Yes, Sunsoft. Back in the day, in NES days, they killed it. So that's that. Kind of just moving down then. There's some more reproduction games in here. So I like doing this too. I'm just going to show this off real quick. So I'll have someone make a reproduction game.
Yeah.
But then I'll design the cover art for it. So I actually designed the whole cover art like that. You find your logos and just different things online and just combine them in. So this is Holy Diver. Again, Famicom game, but translated into US.
Now I'm going to have the song stuck in my head.
Yes, that too. Such a good game, though. So hard, but such a good game. But I really love what's cool about this, again, being personal. I made this whole cover art to look how I wanted it to look with this dark theme and everything.
Looks really good, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So I had a handful up here that I decided to design. Have somebody make you the game, and then you design the cover how you want it. So that way it's your game.
Yes, sir.
No one else has that same cover art because I did it.
Right.
So that's what, again, fun being personal. So I've got a small collection of Wii and Wii U games. There's actually more Wii U over in the theater room because that's where the Wii U's hooked up to. Because again, as I said earlier, I love playing with family, and we play on the big screen in there and being able to have the 4 players everybody can see and sit and play. It's such a blast. Alright, so this is my Sega shelf, again, for the consoles though. So I tried to put them in order as best I can. They don't all fit the best, but starting up top, kind of hard to see there, but that's the original Sega Master System Power Base, as they called it, and I'll get to that. So this plays the cartridges and the cards similar like TurboGrafx, the Hue cards. They play game cards also. So then the Model 2 Master System, just upgraded. The big difference here though, you need to watch out for, so this flips up, takes cartridges, does not play the cards.
Ah,
so
I see.
You don't want to get this system if you're going to try to be playing the cards. So you
okay.
gotta watch out for that. Some people don't realize, and then, can't play them. So, Model 1 Genesis, Model 1 Sega CD, this little guy here is the power base converter. So this plugs into your Model 1 Genesis and lets you play Sega Master System cartridges and the cards. So this was the power base, Sega Master System power base. That's why it's power base converter.
Those are really hard to find, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I've actually had this one since I first started collecting, actually, and I've only seen 1 or 2 cents. One was in the box. Price was just through the roof, so I didn't bother. But even mine, I'm missing the door, but it works.
Yep.
That's the system I play on then, whenever I want to play Master System games, because the power base converter will actually play the PAL games as well.
Nice.
So some of the PAL games won't play in the original system, but that's the nice part about this, is it'll play anything. Model 2 Sega Genesis, I think most people know, hopefully everybody loves. Model 3 Genesis, a lot of people haven't seen this one. It wasn't a huge hit at this point. A lot of people had kind of moved on, but of course they made it extremely small. The big problem with this though, no Sega CD,
right.
32X.
Right.
So if you're wanting to do anything like that, you have to stick with Model 1 or 2. This is strictly Sega Genesis games. So be aware of that again. Showed you earlier the JVC XI. This is the Sega Genesis CDX. Same concept. Genesis games, CD games.
That's cool. I like that.
The funny part about this, they actually sold it as sort of like a Walkman as well. So that's why it's this style. So you could carry it as a portable CD player as well.
That's crazy.
I don't know anybody that did, but you can do that.
Right.
So, very cool. That's why multimedia CD. Sega Saturn, I have another one over there. I've got the Model 1 and the Model 2 system just because, again, it looks cool, the variations. Sega Dreamcast, this is the Sports Edition. So I have the white one sitting over somewhere, also the original, but the Sega Sport's just cool because, obviously, it's black and it flows with everything else. So, as we know, unfortunately, that was the last Sega system, so that's the order. There are more systems prior to this, the SG-1000, some other things. Talked about Game Gear, some other stuff too, but that's the point of that shelf, to kind of go in order. And this shelf, last piece, is sort of my staging area. These are all games that still need to move into the shelves. The problem is, when you keep things in alphabetical order, it's very hard to just throw things in. So, as I have time, I come here, put those games back in there. The other Tiger
those
LCD
are awesome
games. These are some more I have, And actually, you can see these old damaged ones like this childhood copy because I played the crap out of it.
I can see
all the time. Yes. So Sonic 2, Batman, just some random stuff, but a lot of them go back to the things that I love. If I buy a Tiger game, I either had it when I was a kid and lost it, or it's something I want to play again. Road Race, this was my childhood one. Absolutely love that. Another Batman Forever. And that's pretty much it. Again, just some other random stuff that are waiting to go to their home.
Man,
Yes, sir.
Once again, thank you for allowing me to do this interview and do a tour of your game room. You know, it's a lot to ask somebody to let somebody they don't know. I mean, I know me and you talk on Instagram, but still, it's a lot to ask somebody to let somebody they don't really know into their home. So I really appreciate it, man. It means a lot, and it was a lot of fun. And you've got an amazing freaking game room, and I know people are going to love it.
Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure and hit that like button. And let us know in the comments down below what you think about Sean's game room. And if you have any questions about anything in his game room, throw those in the comments, and I'm sure Sean will be happy to answer those for you.
Absolutely will. Thank you guys again. I appreciate your time, of course. It's such a blast being able to talk about everything. So thank you again. I appreciate you guys watching this video.
Yeah, thank you. And again, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing and joining the RetroWolf family. I've got more interviews planned. As a matter of fact, I'm fixing to go shoot another one tonight, and he's actually standing in the room right now off camera, so that's going to be fun. So look forward to that as well. Until next time, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll see you all in the next video.